DeSclafani, I'd be fine with playing at 7,900. They're in San Francisco against Colorado, so I'm not as worried since it's not in Coors. He already handled this team easily once already this year, earlier in the year, so I could see myself looking at him if I was playing, more than 2 or 3 lineups. I could definitely see myself playing a DeSclafani lineup. I love Buster Posey. I'm glad to hear DC, it's his favorite play on the slate because he's the first guy that kind of stuck off the page. Jared Walsh against Jordan Lyles, I could go to at 4.3. I think for the most part, shortstop's going to be a spend-up spot for me. I could see myself just going right to Corey Seager, 5,100.
Talk some baseball, ladies and gentlemen. As it's Holden, it's D-Rock, it's DC. It is Monday, and it's snowing here in Denver. And don't expect the Rockies game tonight. That's all I'm telling people, DC. We got snow today. It was a beautiful weekend. It'll be beautiful again tomorrow, but this is the garbage we got to put up with from time to time. I'm not a weatherman, but I'm just going out. I'm looking outside right now. I'm looking at forecast. Keep dreaming if you wanted to play some Coors Field bats.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm not as sure as you are. It has been getting a little bit clearer throughout the day, I think, lightening up over here. I'm roughly 10 miles north of the stadium, so I don't have, in Colorado, 10 miles can make a big difference. But we'll see. I think there's a chance they'll play. It hasn't really been raining, at least here. I don't know exactly where you are, but
I'm just south of the city, man. It's just like it's nonstop snow today.
I haven't seen any snow.
What?
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
It's Colorado. All right. Anyways, we'll talk about the bats there in Colorado. At the very least, it's going to be cold and nasty and gnarly and gross. D-Rock, how are you, pal? You got your Rizzo thing up behind you. You got a little Brizzo action. How you feeling about your Cubs tonight?
I'm feeling good because I think they're not going to play tonight. So so far it's been one of the best nights of the season for the Cubbies.
Yeah.
It's going to be crappy weather here, just like you guys are talking about out there in Colorado. We got severe storm threats and everything that I had to hunker everything down in the backyard for today. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's looking real nasty. And the weatherman goes, if you guys see the sun today, it's going to be like doomsday tonight. Yeah. And sure enough, I was just outside a little bit ago and it was nice and sunshine.
All right, I looked at it a little bit. I go to weather.gov and I do my weather forecast. It's really difficult. It seems like there's a decent chance of them playing tonight, D-Rock, so don't freak out in Chicago. We got winds blowing out 13 to 15 miles an hour right field at Target Field in Minnesota. And then Cleveland and Kansas City, we got the wind blowing in at 11 miles an hour. Before we get going here, JT Hayes made me bring this up. So, it's not just me. DC, you lost another bet. You're one of the worst bettors I've ever met in my life. You're supposed to shave your head. What happened there, buddy?
Yeah, no, that's going to happen next time I'm on the show with JT Hayes. I can't do it without him. He's got to be there. It's going to be live on air. I couldn't make it Friday, moving places. So I assume I'll be on the show at some point with JT this week. And when I am, the live shaving of the head will happen on air. So I will be fulfilling this bet.
Luckily for you, I don't see any JT Hayes on the MLB show schedule. Let me see here. What's going on Thursday? No, JT is gone. You're going to have to grow your hair out, man. You might have an afro by the time this is all said and done.
Yeah, it'll grow a little bit between now and whenever my show with JT Hayes next comes up. It'll happen, though. No worries.
I just want to give you a little thing here. If you're going to make a bet, this is just general life strategy here. Make sure you're getting something in return next time. Don't say, hey, if Chapman hits a home run, I'll shave my head. Like if Chapman doesn't hit a home run, at least you can get something back. Okay.
That is some good advice. I'll try to take that.
I appreciate it. Yeah. Big T had a lot to say about this last week. Very disappointed in you. I'm just going to say when the boss is disappointed in you, man, you got to stop it with the bets.
I'm used to people being disappointed in me.
Yeah,
so
me too. Me too. D-Rock, really, I don't know. You want to make a bet with no upside for you and just all the losing for you? I'd love to hear one today. Like if the Cubs play tonight, will you shave your head?
No.
Yeah, good idea. See, you learned, and that's very good.
I mean, if I'm getting something out of it, yeah, let's do it. But
draft cheap.
Not high on betting on the Cubs right now.
Before we get to these big pitchers tonight, I want to get your thoughts on Miguel Diaz and Daniel Lynch. Okay. So Diaz is coming up. It's going to be a bullpen game for San Diego, 26-year-old right-hander reliever. Really hasn't done too much the last 2 seasons. He had knee injuries last year in the minors. There wasn't much minors, more knee injuries. But for Lynch, I kind of like him. Top pitching prospect there, mid-90s, touches upper 90s, 26% K rate in the minors. And then at the Arizona Fall League, actually his velo was up a little bit, so that was nice. But he had 14 K, 6 walks in spring training. Yeah. So how are we approaching the 4K pitchers, A, from a talent standpoint, and B, from a salary saving standpoint?
Yeah, so I mean, it is kind of a weird 10-game slate, right? We've already mentioned 2 games on the slate. We don't even know if they're going to play for sure in Chicago and here in Denver, which would change things entirely in terms of where you might want to go with your roster construction. In terms of these 2 pitchers, I think less about Diaz, what to expect from Diaz, than I do Lynch. I think Lynch, like you said, he did struggle a little bit in spring training, but they do view him, I think, as a kind of a real starter. That's how KC operates, right? They don't use openers. They're kind of a little bit of an old school organization. Even guys like Junis and Brad Keller, who aren't really good, they let those guys throw 90 to 100 pitches pretty much every time out there. So I do expect Lynch to at least have the opportunity to give you a full workload here. I think he's talented for sure. I mean, throws pretty hard from the left side. From what I understand, he's got pretty good off-speed pitches as well. Stone minimum on DraftKings, like you mentioned, 4K. Matchup's not perfect against Cleveland. They've got some guys that can swing it a little bit from the right side, but it's fine. Pretty good pitching weather, we think, in Kansas City. Like you mentioned, Holden, wind blowing in from left field in what is already a pretty big park. So, yeah, I like Lynch here. Absolutely willing to play him at 4K. He's not even on the FanDuel slate. They just dropped the ball on that one. Surprise, surprise. But Diaz, I'm less inclined to play him. Interested to hear if, maybe D-Rock has a take on what to expect from Diaz. They were planning to start Dinelson Lamet for this start. I assume, his elbow's been acting up all year long, so I assume it's an issue there. So I don't know for sure what to expect from Diaz. Need to do a little bit more digging there, but Lynch, I think, is a very strong play at 4K.
Yeah, and Ohtani got scratched. Quintana is going to be starting for Ohtani tonight, just in case you didn't know. But D-Rock, you and I were talking about these cheap guys beforehand. I mean, forget about the Padres starter tonight. In my book, Miguel Diaz does nothing for me. And actually, on the bet side, I took the Indians money line first 5 just because. I mean, there's a couple of things there. First, you got Savali, but second of all, if this kid is going to mess around with the strike zone, he's not going to hit strikes. Then maybe if he's not going to hit the strike zone like he had issues in spring training, maybe he can get touched up. Anything here with these 2 guys? Probably Lynch, right?
Yeah, if I'm going down to the 4K range, it's going to be Lynch. I'm not touching Diaz. I'd rather watch DC's guy, Colin Moran, take him yard at the beginning of the game there. But, I do have some interest at Lynch. I mean, 4K, he throws in the upper 90s from the left side. He's got a decent slider. And, Cleveland, yeah, they're not an easy task, that's for sure. But like you guys said, the park is made for it. And, you don't need 10 strikeouts and 1 earned run to get a lot of value out of him. Even if he gets you 15 fantasy points somehow tonight, you're sitting pretty if you have him in your lineup paired up with like a last now or something. So I have a lot of interest in Daniel Lynch actually tonight.
You do? Okay. Yeah. So if you're making 10 lineups, how many are going to have Daniel Lynch in them? On DraftKings, 2-pitcher site.
Well, I'm rolling 20 lineups tonight, and I will probably have, I'd say, maybe 3 or 4. Which I don't expect him to get like very, very chalky because a lot of people are scared to go down that low. So if he comes in at 10%, if you're playing, say 20, even if you're playing 10 lineups tonight and you get 4 lineups with Lynch in there, you're at 40% ownership yourself. You're already 3x the field. So, I mean, it don't seem like a lot of lineups that he's going to be in, but when you compare it to ownership, it actually is quite a bit of lineups.
Okay, very good. Since we started the show and I just said hello to everybody, we started talking about hair and pitching and weather. Hit the like button. We're at 61 right now. We got 300 watching. Be nice to get, to 200 today. We got a dapper looking D-Rock, DC, and myself. Just to answer a question in chat here, someone said, what happened to my hair gel? I just feeling lazy today. I wore this t-shirt to sleep, wore it to the chiropractor today, decided not to do my hair. Couldn't give a damn less. Don't own many good hats. I could do here. D-Rock. Look, this is not good. This is
there
not
we
good.
go. You gonna give that shirt away today?
If you want to. So who are you paying up for tonight, DC? That's my question. Is it just easy? It's Glass now? Is it Savali? Is it Walker Buehler? The case are declining a little bit. Talk to me about the top shelf.
Yeah, a couple things. So I do, to D-Rock's comment about, getting over the field if you get 20% or whatever of Lynch. I think Lynch is going to be higher owned than that. I've got him projected maybe 25 to 30% ownership on Lynch. I still like him at that ownership. So again, just a guess, right? Ownership is tough, especially on a pitcher that we've never seen before that's making his MLB debut. But at 4K on DraftKings, I do think people will go there. Hope I'm wrong. I hope D-Rock's right and he's low owned because I will have quite a bit of exposure to Daniel Lynch. So I did want to address that. The other thing, Miguel Diaz, just looking back at his spring training performances, he pitched in 5 games for the Padres, and in those 5 games, a total of 6 innings. So that makes me think he's not going to be going super deep into this game. Maybe they've been stretching him out over the last month at the alternate site, but unless I hear or read, more likely read something from Padres manager, beat reporters, that Diaz is kind of stretched out and ready to go, I think he's off the list, but certainly interested in Lynch. Just wrapping that one up to the top end of pitching. Glass now, the number one option for me up there. He does get a relatively tough matchup, right? The Angels, I think they've been the best offense overall in baseball against right-handed pitchers so far. Glass now just so good, it doesn't really matter. I mean, even 2 starts ago when he gave up 4 earned runs in the first inning to the Blue Jays, still got 20 fantasy points, bounced back after that with a 35-point outing. The dude just absolutely insane, showing no signs of slowing down. Ohtani scratched, as we've mentioned. I assume that means Ohtani will also not be in the starting lineup, but I could be wrong about that. Wouldn't shock me if he is. But if he's out, that's a big blow, or a big boon rather, to Glass now, because Ohtani does have power and speed from the left side, and that's kind of Glass now's kryptonite if he has one. So Glass now number 1. Walker Buehler, I don't think far behind, but as Derek mentioned, weather concerns in Chicago. It looks like approaching storm, so we'll have to see. He's a good play, I think, if that game plays, but it's looking a little bit unlikely. So that's Buehler. I do like him if the game goes. Clearly kind of the top 2 options up there. Beyond that, I might have to take the bait on Kenta Maeda again. He's been a bust so far, one that I've taken on the chin a few times this year for sure, but I might be willing to go back to it here at home against Texas.
D-Rock, what's your take on Maeda tonight? Let's talk about him. I think he's a hot button topic.
On DraftKings, so I was kind of hoping DC would talk me into him a little bit there, but I'm willing.
I'll try. You go first.
I'm willing to full fade him tonight on DraftKings. I say that specifically because on FanDuel he's like $2,000 cheaper than what he is over on DraftKings tonight. But, for me, his hard hit rate's up this year. He's getting barreled a lot more this year. His swing and strike rate's down. His CSW's down almost 5%, I believe, on the year so far. So I'm not sure. I think his velocity is still looking good from last year and previous years. But I don't know what it is, if he's tipping pitches or something or what's going on. But for me, I'd rather have the Texas bats here against them from the left side. And I even take the righties because even right-handed batters right now are smoking him on this season. So on DraftKings, I'm willing to just look the other way. And, my play was to go with Ohtani because I thought Maeda would get the ownership there. And now that Ohtani's been scratched, I think Kenta could possibly become pretty chalky tonight at 7,800 on DraftKings.
What are you doing up top, Mr. D-Rock? Because, here, I need to talk to both of you guys about Buehler. Let's just dive into this here. And, the Ks have been coming up. The K rate was a little bit down earlier. The last 2 starts, you see him against the Padres and the Reds. He's at least flirting. He's got 19 Ks over his last 2 games. But It seems like I think the velo's down about a mile an hour too. D-Rock, Walker Buehler. What's your take on Buehler just at a macro level and then tonight as well?
Bueller's been another one, kind of like Luis Castillo for me, to where I've kind of noticed something with him with velocity and other things that have kept me away. I mean, he's still not getting like blown up. He's like, his numbers aren't that bad where you can like, you don't want to attack him and stuff like that. But for me, I mean, his CSW, everything is the exact same as last year. His K rate's 27% on the season, which isn't bad, but it's not what we're normally used to seeing from Walker Buehler. And you know, it's so hard because this Cubs team is hit and miss right now. He's good. The strikeout upside is there against the Cubs. 27% strikeout rate on the season for the Cubbies. Being at Wrigley, it worries me a little bit, but if this game does play tonight, I mean, it's hard to not have a little interest in him because I think Glasnow is going to carry a lot of the ownership up top, which could leave you getting Buehler a lot under owned than he probably should be against this Cubs lineup.
What's your take on Buehler tonight here, Mr. DC? A little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. I've liked what I've seen through these last three starts. So he started the year kind of slowly, as we've seen from him a bunch of times. So his first two starts of the year were against, the first one was in Colorado. Second one was against the Nationals. In those two starts, he had a 7.8% and a 4.4% swinging strike rate. And that's kind of close to worse, but commiserate with what we've seen in previous years to Buehler's start to the season. But last three starts, 17.2, 12.9, 16.7% swinging strike rate, throwing a ton of strikes, 68% first pitch strike rate, which is about as high as you're going to see. So getting ahead of hitters. And with his stuff, when he's ahead of hitters and missing bats like he is, a ton of strikeouts, at least potentially. He's had a tough schedule. First start in Coors Field. Then he gets the Nationals. At that point, they still had, Juan Soto and a healthy team. Next two starts against the Padres. And then the start after that against the Reds, who have been, kind of on fire to start the year with and Castellanos and Joey Votto swinging a decent bat lately. So it's been a tough road for Buehler. I actually think this is his easiest matchup of the year so far when you consider the strengths of these teams when he faced them. So again, obviously worried about the weather in Wrigley. What are we, 4 hours, almost 4 hours before game time? It's kind of hard to say at this point, but assuming we get close to an all clear there, I think Buehler is a strong play. I still do have him behind Glasnow though.
So give me your pool. Who's your pitcher pool tonight? 5, 6 guys, 3, 4. Is it a big pool? Is it a little pool? And who is it?
Yeah, both guys up top, Glasnow, Buehler, I think are in play. Glasnow number one for me. In the mid range, Frankie Montas, I think is a pretty strong play at home. He gave up a home run in the second to last batter he faced. He looked really good against the Rays. His velocity looks good. Just couldn't quite finish batters, but ton of swinging strikes, was ahead of hitters all game. I think, the 12.7 DraftKings points he scored in that game was really truly kind of the floor of what he could have gotten or should have gotten, if you will. And then, Kenta Maeda, I mean, I get the fade with him. I don't think he's that far off from being last year's Kenta Maeda as the surface stats seem. So obviously it's been a rough go for him if you look at the ERA and the WHIP and the fantasy points and all that stuff and the strikeouts. But the swing and strike rate is still there. His velocity was at a season high in his last start against Cleveland. I did have a chance to try to dig in, find out what's going on here. Why is he struggling so bad? And, digging in pretty deep, the thing that I found is his slider command has been way off. So that's his strikeout pitch. That's his best pitch. That's the pitch that he throws almost twice as much as any other pitch in his arsenal. 42% of the time he throws that slider. And last year, you're obviously trying to throw that down and into lefties and down and away to right-handed hitters to induce that, big swing and miss. He's leaving that in the middle of the zone way more often than he did last year. And that's leading to all the barrels, the hard contact, the home runs that D-Rock mentioned. For me, command is by far the hardest thing to predict when it's going to come and go, right? It's you try to figure out how healthy a pitcher is by things like velocity and spin rate. He looks good on all those things. It's just he's been leaving his slider way out over the plate too much. I think that could be fixed at any time, right? Without warning, and all of a sudden he gets a feel for his slider. He's able to locate it better. So I'm willing to take a chance on him at 7.8K. I get that he's been bad, but if he is locating that slider, there's a lot of strikeouts to be had in this Texas lineup. So a risky pick for sure, but I do think he's got a chance to deliver. And like D-Rock mentioned, very, very cheap on FanDuel, 6,900, a nice price point over there for Kenta Maeda.
So Glassdown, Montes, Maeda, anybody else? Maybe going down to the
and then Lynch. Yep.
And then Lynch. So that's it. Just the 4 guys right now. I like it. Okay. Now, D-Rock, before we came on, we were talking about Maeda. You think something's going on there, yes?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah. I already did just a little bit ago.
Well, tell me again.
I said, his hard hit rate's up. He's getting barreled a lot more.
No. You're saying that, but like, I guess the better question would be like, do you think it's injury? Do you think it's something else that's going on there? I know the numbers aren't there, but I
don't think it's injury because, like I said, a lot of times you can pick these things out by looking at players' velocity and stuff like that, and if there's injuries about to come, and his velocity is fine. It's still almost the exact same as what it was last year.
I don't think he's hurt. I don't think there's any way he's hurt. So the one thing that I'm worried about a little bit, there has been some talk of some pitchers, their command not the same because the baseball is a little bit different this year, and that could be a thing where he's just velo and spin rate on the slider, but it's just not locating quite the same. So stuff like that is worrisome. But I think that's, I don't know. I guess for me, kind of the null hypothesis, the thing that I think is most likely to happen is Kenta Maeda does return to what we saw last year, in a bigger sample size than we've seen so far this season.
D-Rock, who's in your pool today? Pitcher.
Up top, I got Glass now. If the Cubs game is going to play, I'll have Buehler in there. But if it's looking iffy at all, he won't make my lineups tonight just because I could see a chance they start that game and then there is an in-game delay due to rain, which would just absolutely wreck Buehler's chances of finishing. And then in the middle range, I loved Ohtani, but he's out now. So I'm willing to actually go up $400 there and get to Adam Wainwright. But that's another game that's in question with weather. But I think it's looking a little bit better than the Cubs-Dodgers game is as far as chance to play. So I do like Wainwright. He looks to have found something this year, back to him old self. And the Mets just haven't scared me one bit this year. Lindor, he's due to wake up at some point, but he's about to probably be the most hated guy in New York right now.
You're right.
Yeah.
Behind like 7 Yankees though. So he's all right.
Yeah. And geez, I actually don't mind getting a little bit of Marquez if that game's going to play, just for the fact that DraftKings was like stupidly priced the San Francisco Giants for the slate to where they're all pretty much under 4K for this game in Coors tonight. So I do like Marquez a little bit right there. I won't have a ton of them. And then other than that, down low, Daniel Lynch. And I'll even throw one more out there for a deep GPP play tonight in Dean Kramer of Baltimore against Seattle. There's not a whole lot to really like. If you're looking into the numbers, he has been a bit unlucky on the year, but he does have a 28% CSW with a 26% strikeout rate. And this Seattle team has a ton of strikeout upside in it. The park is great. Is going to be great for Kramer coming over to Seattle from Baltimore. And I believe I want to say there's like 5 batters tonight in the projected lineup for the Mariners tonight with a strikeout rate above 35% in this lineup. So if you're looking down low and you don't want to go with Daniel Lynch, I could see you taking a stab on Dean Kramer and GPP tonight.
All right. Very good. Guys, hit the like button. We're at 109. We got almost 400 watching. Be nice. And I'm always good for threats. Last week I told you if we hit a certain number, I wouldn't show up for a few days. And you hit the number and I didn't show up for a few days. So let's get to 250 today and you'll get the rest of the week off without me. How does that sound? I know DC's happy about that, but you guys should be happy too. So hit the like button. You won't get me again, probably till Friday. Don't worry that it's not on the schedule anyways. That is neither here nor there. I'm just saying, do that. Second of all, Stevie Boynton, our coworker here. Good question for him. Are you no longer in your mom's basement now that you have moved? Is it an apartment play? Is it a house play? Is it a condo play? Are you living in your car? DC, what type of play is it going to be now?
Well, you notice, regular viewers of the show, which hopefully many of you are, perhaps notice my picture is a bit clearer today. I don't have lights coming all over. I've got I've upgraded out of the basement for the first time here in my life. I've got some natural light coming in, which is, giving my face a nice glow to it. So yes, out of the basement for now. I'm sure I'll return there at some point, but
okay.
It's good to be out for a few days at least.
So we'll keep the mom's basement thing, but just know that DC's no longer in his mom's basement.
At least for one day.
At least for one day.
I'm the only one in the basement.
You're in the basement? The basement's the best.
It's all good as long as it's your own basement, which is
the basement is the best.
Problems.
Yeah. No wife, no kids, no nothing in the basement. Just work and televisions. Yeah. D-Rock, you got it all set up. You're in the best setup of all of us. Congrats.
I don't know. When you sit down here at this chair right now, though, it sounds like the floor is about to cave in with all the kids running around.
All right. Well, that might be kind of fun too. It'd be good for views. And then Hoop, our illustrious leader, Hoop, one of them at least. I'm going to read this. For coordinators doing show, here's the new price of the weekly packages. It's going up. So get a monthly package, not a weekly package, because the weekly packages are going up. $25 for DFS, now $35 a week for DFS and bets. So what I recommend you do, just to make it very easy and simple, just sign up for a month. Don't worry about a week. The month is as cheap as it's going to get anyways. RPS Heater 25. Sign up for monthly Elite or Elite Plus bets, 25% off your first payment. Only monthly subscriptions, though. So if you haven't tried it yet, again, it's just been amazing. We got winners every night. We got winners that are paying it back, buying a lot of you guys that are watching that aren't subscribers, subscriptions. We don't have any of those to give away today, but come on. You watch us. You might as well support us while you're at it. D-Rock, let's get to the offenses here. And I guess we just say it with an asterisk with the game in Denver and the game at Wrigley where the weather could be there, but we need to include this anyway. So let's break it down. We'll start at the catcher position. Never very sexy at the catcher position. Nonetheless, what's the plan of attack here, and who are 2 or 3 guys that you're going to be targeting this evening on this slate, D-Rock?
So my favorite play at catcher tonight, it's going to be most likely to be eating a little bit of chalk. Might not make Big T too happy, but my best play tonight is Buster Posey at catcher. The guy is absolutely raking this year against right-handed pitching. It's something else what he's doing right now. And then I'll even stay in Colorado there and go with Dom Nunez for catcher of the Rockies. He's another one that's just absolutely crushing the ball. And then really down low, I mean, there isn't much I really like. I don't mind taking a stab on Victor Caratini or 2.1K for the Minnesota Twins tonight is Ben Rortvet. I think I said that right, maybe.
That's like your best pronunciation. I was really looking forward to you trying to pronounce his name. That was pretty good. So, yeah.
Was I close? Was I close?
Yeah, I think you got it. Rortvet. There you go.
Rortvet. Nice. Yeah. I said that like 10 times before the show. I ain't thought about looking it up on baseball.
You knew I was going to be coming for you if you messed it up. So I'm glad you got your practicing.
So he would be my spin down low. But other than that, I really like Buster Posey tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. It's Rortvet. Like, how tough is that, D-Rock? Rortvet.
It's a spelling.
You missed some D-Rock pronunciations before that you would have thought were also easy, and
they weren't.
Well, apparently not. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you call draft Chayot? Is that the problem? Yeah. Do you do Chayot?
Yeah. Will you do the people a favor and try to pronounce the San Francisco Giants hitter, first name Mike? He's on the IL currently. Usually bats second. Son
His
of a
grandpa was Carl.
Mike Talkman.
No, dude.
What?
Mike Y for the Giants.
Yaz. Yeah.
Why?
Yaz.
Carl
Yastrzemski?
Come on.
Have you heard of Carl Yastrzemski?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. No, I just call him Yaz.
Yeah. It's Yaz. It's not Yaz. It's not Y.
I call him Yaz.
Well, I know you do.
This ain't hockey. You know, in hockey, we can get into all this stuff. You know what?
Some people call it Rand Pure Sports, and that's incorrect. So is Yaz.
You see, I'd probably be pretty entertaining actually on the hockey show. I mean, there's definitely some names on there I would completely butcher.
I was telling people there was a game that I played like 15 years ago on a show. It was called Tennis Player, Hockey Player, Porn Star, because so many of the tennis players and the hockey players, they had like Daya Bendanova and stuff like this, and you had no idea what they were. And you still can do that. We got great hockey content at DFS too, by the way, if you didn't know. Matty Ice and the boys cleaning up this season. Love it. What's up, Matty Ice and the boys? But all right, it's over to you, DC. Enough of the screwing around here. Let's get to the catcher position.
Yeah, again, if it plays both Coors Field guys, Posey and Nunez, very, very strong plays. We don't have very many lineups out right now, so that makes especially the catcher position a little bit tough. I don't mind Salvador Perez. Sean Murphy's been picking it up a little bit for the Oakland A's, got 4 home runs on the year, gets Steven Matz, who I don't think is as good as most people think. We didn't really talk about Kyle Hendricks. He's kind of a little bit of a Kenta Maeda case as well, where there doesn't really seem to be anything physically wrong with him, but the results have been awful. So if that Dodger-Cubs game looks like it could play, Will Smith, again, if he's in the lineup, does look like a pretty good option. And then, I think punting, if you're spending up for a Glasnow or a Buehler or both, the Twins catcher at 2,100, Wart Vet, looks like he's at least a decent enough hitter to punt with.
Okay, so here's a guy I just want to throw this out at you, and I think it's Nola, right? Austin Nola. So if you want to play it safe tonight, maybe it's a strategery session here, avoiding the weather and, avoiding Wrigley and maybe avoiding Coors and playing some of those later games too. But any interest in Nola tonight? I'm just looking at the lineups. We actually got a guy going up against Tyler Anderson, hitting 7th in the Padres lineup, or is just a deep dive? Because I don't want to pay up at the position, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm in with Austin Nola. I was a big fan of him coming into the season. I think he fractured his finger in spring training, so hasn't played much yet, but he was a really, really good hitter last year. Interestingly, had some really, really pronounced reverse splits where he was much better. He's a right-handed hitter. He was much better against righties than he was against lefties. Looks somewhat legitimate to me. So that's, I guess, one knock against him. But yeah, I think he's a good play. I really do like the Padres tonight, so would have no issue with that. Okay,
very good. Love it. There was something in the chat I wanted to get to here. Somebody said something very interesting. Oh, yes, George, and this has nothing to do with anything, but I do a up to lock show with JSU. If you guys play NBA DFS, 45 minutes before lock, Monday through Friday, JSU and I do a show. And nobody really screws up pronunciations, much like JSU. He's just about as bad as it comes. He's the best GPP player in the world and the worst pronouncer in the world. And yes, I am with you, George Pimpin. He calls him Daniel Thies every day, and it's Daniel Tice. Okay, it's not that tough, JSU. Tice, like Mike Tice, the old coach of the Minnesota Vikings. You and I like football a lot. I'm sure you can remember to call him Daniel Tice and not tilt everybody in the chat. 404 watching right now, 157 likes. Okay, and then another guy, it's going to be tough to keep up with the competition if you're raising the prices. It's for the weekly. You know why? Because we still have by far and away the cheapest price of any subscription out there, DFS, and it's looking to me like we got more winners than anybody out there. So go ahead and sign up. Try the month. RPS Heater, 25% off. That's right. LOL, George Pimpin. You got it, pal. Deep breath, exhale, first base, draft sheet. So again, if you want to assume Coors is playing, that's fine. How do we just keep Alex Kerloff out of our lineups? I don't even care at this point. What handedness, where he's hitting. He's hitting 5th today, and he's on fire.
Yeah, this is my dude. I was getting trolled on I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday. Someone I had tweeted something entirely unrelated to baseball, I believe, and this person on Twitter had of course they had an egg avatar. They have the gall to attack the great draft. They say, when are you going to take Alex Kerloff out of your core plays? Now listen, he was minimum price all these times, and I'm telling you, this guy can hit. This guy can hit. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. You stayed on the Alex Kerloff train with me. You got rewarded with 4 home runs over the weekend. This dude can absolutely crush. A bunch of those went opposite field. You said, Holden, you don't care which handedness he faces. I do, because he looks really bad against lefties, but he gets a righty tonight in Dane Dunning. This guy's fantastic. So Kerloff, 2,900. DraftKings can play him at first base or outfield. I don't care where you play him. Just get the man in your lineups. He's the best value at first base, no question.
Yeah, I don't care where you play him. I don't care what handed he's hitting. He's $2,900, and at some point in time, the correct handedness will come up in that game. He's just on fire, man, yep. And that's it. And don't you expect people to come at you though on Twitter, since after learning a little bit more about you, you're kind of just like a troll, and you love being trolls. So you can't get upset when people troll you on Twitter, being that you have built your whole reputation on trolledness.
Yeah, that makes sense. What I don't like is like you got to respond. Like, okay, let's say if I tweet something about baseball, then okay, you want to show me about what you think were bad Alex Kerloff picks. Fair enough. But for one, this guy's just wrong, right? I was right about Alex Kerloff. This guy can hit. If you kept playing Alex Kerloff, you profited. So I just wanted to shout that guy out. Maybe he's watching. I hope so. I mean, he's clearly a subscriber if he's got access to the core plays. So,
Yes.
Yeah, send me a DM and apology DM, whoever you are out there. And yeah, then we'll be on good terms once again.
Are we done at the position with Kerloff, or who are the couple other guys? Just a couple others. Just a couple others.
Yeah, go ahead, D-Rock. You take the other.
Clean it up, D-Rock. Clean it up.
So I love that play too at 2.9K. But if the Cubs game is going to play, I really want Matt Muncy tonight. If I'm paying up for a first baseman tonight against Kyle Hendricks. Brandon Belt is another one that's probably going to be pretty chalky at night. He's only $3,400 playing in Coors. And then one of my favorite ones though at first base tonight, I'll actually probably, if I'm playing Kerloff, he'll be in the outfield for me on DK. My first baseman on DraftKings tonight is going to be Nate Lowe of the Rangers against Maeda. I have a feeling he's taking Maeda deep. I'm even going to bet though. I haven't looked at the home run prop on it yet, but I don't care what it is. I'm going to bet it.
DM me. I'll book it for you because he's not taking Maeda deep tonight.
He's taking them deep.
Oh my God, the guy just doesn't learn. What's on the line, DC?
Yeah, what's on the line here?
All right, so you're already shaving your heads. How about you shave your eyebrows if he hits a home run?
as long as we get some reciprocation.
All right, guys. Okay, so listen, here's the bet. And obviously somebody didn't learn. So D-Rock, you said it. If Nate Lowe hits a home run tonight with the wind blowing out to right field, Minnesota.
It's blowing out at like 16 miles an hour.
Yep, 15. Yep, 14 to 16 miles an hour. D-Rock, if he hits it tonight, Draft Cheat not only who is already shaving his head will now have to shave his eyebrows.
All right, he shaves his eyebrows, and I'll tell you what we'll do. How about Nate Lowe versus Kerloff?
Ooh, yes.
DK points tonight.
Okay.
If I lose, I'll shave my head bald. I won't buzz cut it. I'll go bald, but you gotta shave your legs.
Oh, DC's legs are probably shaved already.
Don't kill my action hold. We got a deal. We're booked.
We can do the. I'll give you the option: eyebrows or legs.
No,
hold on. You just got him out of shaving his eyebrows to shave his legs. What the hell is wrong with you, D-Rock?
It's getting summertime. He's gonna be walking around with shorts on.
Who cares?
We found someone worse. We found a worse.
Who cares? Yes. Well, he's still not worse than you because
I got something out.
Totally submarined this bet, D-Rock. We were this far away for the guy not only having to shave his head but his eyebrows, and you bring up his legs.
Hey, then where I'm
from, no! You just completely blew D-Rock. I love you, kid, but boy, did you just screw up. I almost need. You know what? If you lose tonight, you shave your eyebrows.
No, I'm already shaving my head. And I'm going.
We got head versus legs. All right, we're moving on.
Very frustrating. Okay, second base. You know he's had it. D-Rock he didn't want me circling around trying to get those eyebrows taken off. Second base, Mr. Draft Cheat tonight. The pool here again. I'm just looking at it. It's pretty condensed, and I'm on the Twins. So why not take a look at Arias?
Yeah, Arias or his teammate Polanco. Polanco's pretty expensive at 5,200, but I do like both guys. I think the Twins are going to have a strong game here against Dane Dunning. If the Rockies game plays, and I gotta say, I'm getting a little more optimistic as this day goes on about the Rockies game. I'll put it out there. I think this game's playing tonight.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Ryan McMahon, he's been excellent so far this year, especially in Coors Field. And, we haven't talked that much about the Rockies yet. Obviously, we're just getting to hitters. I'm really, really convinced Aaron Sanchez is going to get absolutely torched very, very soon. And this would be a good spot for it. Man, I wish it was good weather in Colorado tonight. If it was just 60 degrees, and not kind of cold and rainy like it is, I would be all in on these Rockies stacking them every which way. Might do it anyway if the game looks like it's going to play. Because Aaron Sanchez, I'm telling you, he is not long for this starting rotation. He survived again last start against Colorado. Of course, that one was in San Francisco. Big difference there. But a 45% first pitch strike rate. So he's fallen behind every hitter. He walked 5 guys, 7% swinging strike rate, 34% zone rate on his pitches, which is dead last in baseball over a decent sample size. He just has nothing right now. I was on the Rockies that game. They eventually came through, not necessarily against him. I'm just telling you, Sanchez I think he's just complete dust at the moment. And I really hope this game in Coors plays because I love the Rockies here.
No doubt about it. He's getting it done with smoke and mirrors, man. And D-Rock.
100%. More than, in my opinion, more than any other starter in baseball right now. I think, what is his ERA is like, okay, right? He's like,
no, he's good.
2.22 ERA is like
he's
good.
Good.
I'm telling you, he is not good. So
well,
I love the Rockies here.
And D-Rock earlier said Wainwright is, he's having a great year. Have you watched Wainwright pitch? I mean, it's great. Like, I'm buying into it, but he didn't throw a pitch over 80 for like 4 innings. He's just junking it up there, all curveballs and stuff.
He looks okay. I mean, his curveball looks good. His cutter looks good. So.
It does. And it's so slow that a lot of these guys just are completely screwed up by the timing. Yeah, so that's another thing.
I mean, I just want to reiterate this. His best pitch is his curveball. That won't even work in Coors Field because it won't break very much. So I just think he's totally screwed if this game happens. I really hope it doesn't.
D-Rock, second base, real quick. Give us a little player pool.
Ryan McMahon. I wrote him up in my article this morning, if you're able to catch that. And basically what DC just said, I mean, I pretty much got all the same stuff in my article with the 2.2 ERA on the season, which is probably going to keep people away. But Sierra is up to 4.16. I want to say it's like almost a 4 mile per hour velocity dip from last year. And he's getting bailed out. He's got a 60% ground ball rate right now. That's really bailing him out on the season. So, and I just really love this matchup for the Rockies. I don't care if it's cold out, whatnot. Nobody's going to want to pay up for McMahon at 5.1K tonight with so many Giants being so underpriced. I absolutely love Ryan McMahon tonight. He was my home run call of the day in the article this morning, if you're able to read it. And then the other one I would go to is Luis Ariz. Really like him at 3.8K. I said that wrong again, I'm sure. And I don't mind if you're going to pay up. If you want to get off the course, go to Jorge Polanco. And just so you know, George Pippen in chat agrees with me that the Lades is a good bet.
Okay. Completely disagree with you, but that's fine. And since you're already talking D-Rock, let's just move on to third base and the player pool here. What we really haven't talked about tonight? The Brewers at Philadelphia. D-Rock, we did not break down Vince Velasquez and whether or not we're going to target him because he likes to give up fly balls.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Velasquez, especially there. Travis Shaw is really cheap tonight, 3.5K. I've been one in chat a lot of times to say I would rather I wouldn't play Shaw with your money, but yeah, tonight's a tough one. I don't mind going to Shaw down there. I don't really have faith in the Brewers bats, to be honest with you. I mean, that could be a Cubs fan in me trying to speak out, but like I said, if you read my articles and stuff, I'm like drowning the Cubs almost every article I write. And then, again, you got Ryan McMahon, who's also third base eligible. I really like Matt Chapman tonight, 4.3K against Steven Matz. So at third base, he might be my top third baseman. And then also Manny Machado, if you want to pay up there as well.
That's the pool at third base tonight. DC, any agreements, disagreements, or new names you want to throw in this pool?
Yeah, that seems like a pretty strong pool to me. I don't think D-Rock mentioned Jose Ramirez, the top guy at third base. If you're not on Daniel Lynch, and I do like Daniel Lynch, but I won't have him on all my teams. Jose Ramirez has been on fire to start the year, so he would be a good option. Nolan Arenado against Joey Lucchesi, I think is a strong play. Arenado, was playing a pretty good bat this year. I had question marks for him moving out of Denver, but he's been solid. So Arenado. I do kind of like the Baltimore and Seattle game for offense a little bit. Swanson and Dean Creamer. I don't think either of those pitchers are very good. So I don't mind going to Maikel Franco at 3,700 or Kyle Seager, same game for 4,200. I think both guys pretty good plays. I like third base. Chapman, he's been turning it around. D-Rock mentioned him. I think there are a number of
no. He's dead to me. He's
Chapman?
dead to me.
Oh, yeah. Well, he cost
I'll just tell you why.
So, yeah, thanks, Chapman.
Let me just tell me why. Let me tell you why. So yesterday, the bet side, if you haven't signed up for the bet side, it's 20 extra bucks. It's 20 extra bucks. Come on. What are you doing? You get the bet side, the DFS side, all for $100 and 25% off the first payment with RPS Heater 25, $75 for this first month for DFS and the bet side. Are you kidding me? So we got the first 5 yesterday, Orioles, A's, 2 down, Mania. There's a runner on second. There's a runner on second. That kind of screwed us. But in the bottom of the inning, Chapman has Olsen on second base, nobody out. He strikes out. They can't move the runner over. He doesn't score. Matt Chapman dead to me for tonight. Now, that might come back and hurt me, but tomorrow he's back in the circle of trust. So that's a great story. Glad I wasted everybody's time. Hit the like button. We got 178 out of 442. Shortstop position tonight. Boy, there's always such nice options at shortstop. There's the Corey Seagers. Trevor Story is starting to hit the baseball. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. He's had a nice few games now. He's starting to wake up. Didn't really hit any home runs early, and now he's got one in back-to-back games. Bichette, Gregorius. I'm just looking up and down the line here. There's so many guys that we like. Is tonight a night we can go with free money Freddie Galvis? Is this what was the splits again? We want him against a righty or a lefty?
His splits aren't that pronounced, but
we want a righty.
Big T's very convinced he's much better against righty. So if you want to go with that split
tonight, Freddie Galvis, free money Freddie. He's sitting in eighth, and DC already likes the environment here in a tough hitters ballpark in Seattle, but obviously the pitcher's struggling. Maybe some free money Freddie. How about you, D-Rock? What do you got here at shortstop this evening?
My top spend is going to be Trevor Story. He's starting to heat it up finally. He real slow start to the year, but like we keep mentioning, something's wrong with Sanchez, and he's just literally getting as lucky as can be to even have a 2.2 ERA on the season. I'm really hoping the Cubs game does play, because if it does, I really want Corey Seager in my lineups tonight. He will be my top shortstop option tonight if that game is going to go over, and he's underpriced. If anytime I can get Corey Seager under 5K, that's a no-brainer for me, especially against a right-handed pitcher at Wrigley. I could see paying up for Fernando Tatis tonight against Anderson, but pushing 6K is a little pricey for me when I can go well over $1,000 less to get Corey Seager there in that spot. And then Brandon Crawford, 3.2K. He's going to be a real popular option tonight if he's in the lineup against Marquez. It's just too cheap for the environment there. Even if it's going to be cold, still too cheap at 3.2K.
No, that's the chat brought up a great point, because Story did leave after getting hit in the hand with a pitch yesterday. So he's got a finger, which is bothering him. So if he's in the lineup tonight, good. If he's not, I guess there's a question to that. Because he got taken out last night, didn't he? He had some X-rays.
Yeah.
So
he stayed in the game after getting beamed, even stole a base and then came out. X-rays were negative. But I mean, as a shortstop, right, you kind of need your hands a little bit. So I get, my guess is he sits, but if he's in there, that for me would mean that he's feeling fine to play. So he would be my top guy at 5,600. Yeah. Tatis, number 2 for me, really expensive, right? 5,900 on DraftKings, but if you're playing Lynch at 4K, you can kind of afford most of the bats that you want. So Tatis, I think, is an excellent guy tonight. Polanco looks solid. Seager, again, pending Chicago weather news, a good way to go. Paul DeJong, I think, a lot of power. You're going to get, mostly strikeouts if you don't get the home runs, but for tournaments, I think he's a solid play as well. And yeah, of course, free money Freddie. Guessing he'll be in Big T's cores. I think that's actually a pretty good call tonight.
I mean, is Seager ever a bad play recently? I know it's Hendricks.
He's always a good play. Yeah.
He's always a great play. I mean, I love this guy. And it just seems like, in DFS, it's not the smartest things to always just go back to the well with the same guy, but it seems like it happens a lot to me with Seager. And more often than not, it's just paid off. So again, we got my favorite guy, Seager, and we got my other favorite guy, free money Freddie Galvis. You want to save one? You want to spend some money? But let's go to outfield. And before we go to outfield, where are we sitting at? 450 watching, 189. Get us to 200 likes before we finish with the outfield, please. Just be nice to us. Just so sensitive today. My feelings are so hurt if we don't get to 200. DC outfield. What the hell do we do tonight? What is it? Don't tell me Charlie Blackmon, because he's almost there.
Ooh.
He's almost back.
I'll definitely be in on some Charlie Blackmon if he's in the lineup and if this game plays. Beyond him, we're still waiting. we've barely mentioned this Milwaukee and in Philadelphia game, and Hauser, Velasquez. I kind of do like bats from both sides of it. It's another game that does have some slight weather concerns. I think it will play. And Bryce Harper, it looked like he hurt his wrist a little bit on Sunday Night Baseball. Okay. I'm just reading now. He's not going to be in there. So he would have been a great play, but Harper going to be out. Not going to put me on Hauser or anything like that. Mike Trout, if you're not on glass now, I think is an interesting play. Trout is just so good that I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to take a shot on him against Tyler Glasnow, right? Like Trout can lay off those breaking balls. He's got a quick enough bat to square up a 99 mile per hour. You know what I mean? It's goddamn Mike Trout. And he's also could steal against Glasnow, who allows a ton of stolen bases. I know Trout, I don't think he even has a single stolen base yet, but there's no question he can run if he wants to. So I like Trout as I assume very, very low owned play against Glasnow in tournaments. Beyond him, Will Myers, I think a very good play against Tyler Anderson. Myers has some pretty pronounced, splits where he crushes lefties, gets Tyler Anderson, who isn't too bad, but still a great matchup for Myers. Ramon Laureano, he's been pretty crazy good to start the year. Gets Steven Matz, another guy that you can run on. Laureano 5,200, expensive, but again, that should hold his ownership down. And then I really like the Rockies guys if the game looks safe to play. Tapia, Blackman, obviously. So those are those two guys mainly, I think, in the outfield for Colorado. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm starting my builds here.
D-Rock, what's the player pool tonight in the outfield?
I think Christian Yelich can return tonight to the lineup. Yep. If he does, I really like Yelich tonight. He's under 5K at 4.6 against Velasquez. Probably one of my top plays of the night for the outfield. I like Joey Gallo, 3.5K. Definitely can, he's either going to do one of two things. He's going to strike out, he's going to hit you a home run tonight. And I could see a scenario where he does go deep. Charlie Blackmon, absolutely love him, 3.7K. He's probably my best value bat for the outfield tonight. A chalky one, probably Alex Dickerson of the Giants. I think he's gonna get a lot of attention at 3.5K, but I don't mind that for a bat. And then I'll even go, if you're not playing Wainwright, I like Michael Conforto at 3.8K tonight. And then another one that DC didn't touch is gonna be probably a super chalk, and that's gonna be Mike Tauchman of the Giants. He is the very min price on DraftKings at $2,000, hitting what I assume is second tonight in that lineup. That's going to be I'll probably get some of that. And then Will Myers at 5K. I don't think many would pay 5K for him on the slate tonight against Anderson, but I really like that matchup for him hitting fifth.
Okay. Yep. And just remind everybody, Alex Kerloff, if you're not playing him first on DK, you can play him in the outfield. You can play him in the outfield on FanDuel only. He's 2.4 on FanDuel. He's 2.9 on DraftKings. I think he's probably the show favorite at this point. Like, you got us on Badu early in the season there, DC. Badu's been nice. Kirloff, to me, is a guy that can stick, though, for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, way better hitter than Badu is, no question.
He is a stud. All right, let's get to our stacks, guys. 2-3 stacks, DC. Who should we go with tonight?
Rockies are my number one. If the game looks safe to play, we'll see. I'll go with the Padres, number 2 against Tyler Anderson. A lot of right-handed power in there in that lineup against the guy that does give it up to right-handers. And there are some good choices here, but you know what? I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles against Eric Swanson, who I don't think is any good. Yeah, might get them a little bit low owned. The later that lineup comes out, the lower owned they will be. So the longer they wait, the more I'll like the Orioles. But I do like both sides of that Orioles and Mariners game there.
Hey, just real quick, because you're not the only one over here at RPS that's been talking about this. Despite the ballpark, right? This is just 2 pitchers we want to target. How much do the bullpens factor in as well? I mean, Baltimore's bullpen, by the way, has been spectacular, but
actually,
what?
Both of these bullpens have been good. I just don't really buy that it's going to continue necessarily.
Okay, so all the factors combined, what do you really like about that Seattle game? Because personally, I think people are going to overlook it then. It's in Seattle, it's late at night, and it's 2 garbage teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll get the roof closed, so it'll be, reasonable temperature. I don't think these offenses are as bad, though, as people think. They've got some young talent coming up. I just don't think the pitchers are any good is kind of the big thing, and I will target against bad pitchers. I mean, Eric Swanson, we don't have a huge sample size on him at the big league level, but the last 3 seasons, big league or minor league that we have, home run per 9 rate 1.85, 2.64, and 3.52. So just giving up home runs left and right. Doesn't strike out a ton of guys. I mean, he hasn't had an ERA below 5.5 in 3 years. So I don't know. I'll take my shot on some Baltimore guys there.
Okay. D-Rock, 2 or 3 stacks, buddy.
I'm going to pull it out tonight. My top stack is going to be the Texas Rangers against Kenta Maeda.
Oh, man. We are all right. This is good.
We can start it off with Nate Lowe. And then, I even love getting some Willie Calhoun in there. I'll even go with the righty-righty matchup with Nick Salak. Joey Gallo's in there. And one of my favorites, Adolis Garcia. Kids have been a masher. And then after them, I'm also on board with the Rockies. Rockies are my second favorite stack. Just I think everybody's going to go to the Giants side of that game and not the Rockies.
Nice. All right, guys, we're at 212 likes. We'll end up having over 1,000 watching here. Let's see if we can get to 250 just to be nice. If we don't, we don't. 250 be nice though. Hey, D-Rock, before we get to these plays of the day, what is your play of the day called? What is it called?
I don't know. We've had a couple different conversations. We've had the rock hard play of the day. We've had the nip slip play of the day.
Okay.
From the first show, and you got me to take my shirt off.
You took your shirt off, yeah.
Yeah. We were showing
Didn't take a lot
there.
of prodding, D-Rock. It did not take a lot of prodding for you. You almost said, okay, let me just do this.
I'm happy to show off my dad bod.
I know you are.
Yeah.
No
worries here.
All right.
Other than that, I can't really think of anything else.
Yeah, and I can't see the screen if Simon's putting anything up there right now. I have no idea. But whatever your play of the day is, D-Rock, let's hear it. Who is D-Rock's play of the day?
Rock hard. We'll just go with the rock hard. The rock hard
Okay.
play of the day. I've already mentioned him like 2 or 3 times, and that is going to be Mr. Nate Lowe of the Texas Rangers tonight against Kenta Maeda.
All right. Mom's basement play of the day. I don't know many more Mom's basement plays. He's out of his basement. He's in a house north of Denver now, a couple miles north of Denver. Beautiful lighting, AOL dial-up internet. What do you got tonight? Mom's basement play of the day.
We haven't mentioned him so far. Didn't get there when we didn't get down that low in the outfield, but I'll go. Well,
Talkman?
I got to give out 2 because I have to stick with my guy Kerloff after we talked about him. Shout out to the hater for getting Kerloff going. He needed that. And I'm giving one more. And also in the outfield, Dylan Carlson.
Ooh.
I'm becoming more and more convinced that Dylan Carlson is much better swinging from the right side of the plate than the left side. He gets kind of a soft tossing lefty in Joey Lucchesi tonight in St. Louis. Looks like some pretty damn good hitting weather in St. Louis. We don't have it everywhere tonight, but 80 degrees and some wind blowing out to left center field. That works for guys swinging from the right side against the lefty in Dylan Carlson. He's got real power, off to a good start, hitting second for the Cardinals. 3.4K on DraftKings. I'll make him and Alex Kerloff, 2 guys in the outfield, my plays of the day.
Yeah, I'll go outfield too. I think he can save a little money at a couple outfield positions tonight. And Mark Tauchman, right-handed killing specialist in Coors Field tonight. And he's the downright minimum price. He's 2K on DraftKings. Coming off a game, he hit a home run. Everything's working for him tonight. I love how this matches up. I love how I can save more salary there and just get just about any bat I want to. I can go Glass now. And if you go Glass now, one of the cheaper pitchers, and then Kerloff and Tauchman in your outfield, you basically get any bat you want on the rest of the slate on DraftKings. So Mark Tauchman is the edibles play of the day. A couple things before we get out of here. First of all, RPS Heater 25, new promo code, monthly elite or elite plus bets option, get 25% off your first payment. That's the first thing. The second thing is, D-Rock, since we already corrected you on so many of your mispronunciations, it's not Luis Ariz, it's a Luis Ariz. Can you say Ariz for us?
I'm a rising.
There you go, a Luis Ariz. And then draft cheat, it's not Lucchesi, it's Lucchesi. He's Italian.
I think I corrected myself on that
He's
one. So
Italian. I don't think you did.
Not holding any L over here.
Not so sure you did. But yes, Johnny Lucchesi is who it is. And tonight he's going to get lit up, correct? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think he might. Yeah.
Oh, please get lit up. I hope you get lit up so bad. Okay. The second thing would be, I heard G Rison is on the pod tomorrow. Is this true?
I hope so. I love pods with G Rison.
Oh, I love G Rison. He's the best. Well, maybe he's not the best, but he's close to being the best. So tell him about your podcast every morning.
Monday through Friday. Yeah, breaking down the next day's slate, typically the main slates. If there's early ones, we'll touch on those, but it'll be the main slate breakdowns, rotating cast of characters from all the content producers here at Run Pure Sports. And yeah, find it wherever you find your podcasts. Search Run Pure Sports. It'll show right up at the top there.
Who is Mark Tachman?
I wasn't going to correct you. I only correct D-Rock on his pronunciation. This wasn't a pronunciation. You just didn't know his name. So,
it's fine. And then what's the bet between you guys?
We got Kerloff versus Nate Lowe, DraftKings points, D-Rock's head versus my legs being shaved.
D-Rock, we were so close to having him shave his eyebrows.
We'll get the eyebrows next Monday. And then after next Monday, he'll have his head shaved, his legs shaved, and his eyebrows shaved.
Yeah, I called him. Yeah, Mark Tachman, Johnny Lucchese. I'm sitting here correcting you guys, and I don't know anything about people's first names. I, honest to God, have no idea what Draft Cheat's first name is. All I ever do is call him Draft Cheat. And as far as D-Rock goes, again, what is your real name?
Derek.
I don't want to know that. I don't know anybody's first name. I know Tony. I don't know JSU. I work with him every day. Hoop, I have no idea. What is Hoop's first name?
His first name is Mike. I prefer you not knowing my name, though.
Are you sure?
Close to me, so yeah.
Really? Yeah, I have no idea anybody's. I think JSU's name is John, but his name is Pete? Hoop's name is Pete?
Hoop's name is Mike. My name is Pete.
Your name is Pete. Damn it. And I know Simon's name is Simon because all we ever do is call him Simon. I don't know how he came up with Pumacom. Anyways, we're out of here. We got a basketball show coming up. It's free. Make sure you watch that. And then every day, 45 minutes before tip. I cannot wait till the NBA regular season is over. I'm ready for some playoff games and some play-ins. But that being said, we're still trying to make money on the NBA side. 45 minutes before lock, it is the final countdown, JSU, and I just steer the ship for him, and it's a wonderful time. And then one more time, RPS Heater, 25% off your monthly, your first monthly bill. For Draft Cheat, Pete, and Derek, the D-Rock, right? I'm Holden. Keep running pure. Bye-bye now.